Hello everybody. Welcome to Storytime from the Milledgeville Public Library of Illinois. The story we have for you today is about, it's about a horse, and it comes to us from China. This is the story of the magic horse of Han Gan. Once long ago, there was a little boy named Han Gan. He loved to draw. He was always drawing things in the dirt, but his family was very poor, and so he could not afford to buy paint and brushes and paper so that he could draw on paper. So all he could do was draw in the dirt. To help his family earn a little bit of extra money, he went to work for the innkeeper. His job was to take the meals and deliver them to the homes of her customers. One day, Han Gan delivered a meal to the home of a very famous painter. His name was Wang Wei. As Han Gan was leaving Wang Wei's house, admiring the pictures that were on the walls, he stepped outside and he noticed standing there some very handsome horses. Now, Han Gan really liked horses, and he just couldn't resist squatting down right there in the dirt and drawing those horses out in the dirt. Well, Wang Wei happened to be passing the door of his house, and he saw the young delivery boy squatted down drawing in the dirt. And so he crept up behind him and he looked over his shoulder. And when Han Gan finished drawing, Wang Wei stood and he looked at the drawing for a little while. And then he said, "You, what is your name?" "Han Gan, sir." "Ah, Han Gan, you come back and see me tomorrow." Well, Han Gan was a little surprised by that, but he did what he'd been told. The next day when he came back, Wang Wei handed him a bundle of paper and ink and brushes and a small sack of coins so he wouldn't need to work anymore. "This is for you so that you may paint as much as you like," said Wang Wei. Han Gan was so happy. He went home and he drew from sunup to sundown. He drew everything he could see, but more than anything, he loved to draw horses. He drew the horses big and he drew horses small, and he always tried to make them look as real and as alive as possible. And he got very, very good at it. In fact, he was so talented that after a couple of years, word about him spread, and the emperor heard about him. And the emperor saw some of his paintings, and so he summoned Han Gan to the palace, and he let him enter the academy for official court painters. Well, at the academy, the teachers all wanted Han Gan to learn how to draw better by copying the paintings that were made by the old ancient masters. But Han Gan did not want to do that, and so he refused. The teachers were all very surprised, but he said that he just wanted to paint horses, and so he did. But one day, one of his friends noticed that all of his horses were tied up. Not one of them was running free across the fields. Every single one of them was tethered. "Why are all of your horses hitched up?" his friend asked him. And Han Gan said, "Well, because my horses are so alive that they might leap right off the page and run away." From that time on, people began to whisper little strange stories about the horses of Han Gan. And, as rumors do, they grew and they changed and they became even stranger the longer they continued. Well, sometime later, in the darkest part of the deepest silent night, a great warrior appeared at Han Gan's door as Han Gan was working in his studio painting horses that were all tied up. The warrior came in and he said, "My visit must be a secret. You see, the enemy is at our gates, and tomorrow I have to go and fight. but I have no horse. My last one was killed in a battle. I have heard that your horses are magical. They are stronger and they are better than any real horse, and that your magic brush will make them actually come off the page and come to life. Well, Han Gan was a little surprised to hear that. He hadn't realized the stories had gotten quite that big. The warrior said, "Could you paint me a steed more valiant and more spirited than any that has ever existed?" "Well, I can certainly try," said Han Gan. And so he turned to the paper and he took out his brushes and his ink and he began to draw, and he drew the most beautiful horse he had drawn yet. He put his heart and his soul into that drawing. But when he was done, it did not come to life. "Please try again. It is very, very important," said the warrior. "I am sorry," said Han Gan, "but this drawing is worthless. It only deserves to be thrown into the fire." And so he picked up the paper and he threw it away into the fire. But at the very moment that it touched the flames, a magnificent steed burst out of the flames and landed outside of Han Gan's house. The warrior hurled himself after the horse and up on its back and disappeared into the night. Well, Han Gan came running out and said, "Take care of your horse!" But only the moon was still there to hear him. The horse that had come off the page did not need any food or water or sleep. It was a magnificent horse. When it galloped, its hooves barely touched the ground. And the warrior on his back, he had never felt so mighty. In fact, he was not just powerful, he was practically invincible. When he rode into battle, not a spear or an arrow touched him or the horse on which he rode. The warrior began to report great victories in every battle. But none of those victories satisfied him. After a while, the enemy was defeated, but the warrior had more enemies still, and he was not satisfied with the victories he had won. He wanted to fight again and again and again until he no longer had a single enemy left. Sadness overcame the poor horse. He looked around at all of the defeated and dead enemies and all of the wounded and dying horses, and he began to cry. That horse reared up and he bucked the warrior right off of his back in the middle of the battlefield. Still covered in blood, the horse ran off into the night. Nothing and no one could stop that horse. He just disappeared down the road. The warrior was very upset. He searched for his most powerful horse desperately everywhere. He looked everywhere he could think of. He searched all through the hills and the mountains and the valleys and the rivers. He searched and searched and searched for 36 days and 36 nights. And at last, one autumn morning, he found himself near Han Gan's house. And so he went to Han Gan and he said, "Han Gan, the horse that you have painted for me, it is gone. It ran away. Do you know where it has gone to?" And Han Gan looked at the warrior very sadly and he said, "Yes, I do. You did not take care of the horse. You did not treat it well. You just rode it into battle over and over and over again." He took the warrior into his house and he pointed to a place on the wall that was covered with horses. And he said, "When I went to bed one night, there were 5 horses on this wall. Now there are 6. And this is where your horse has chosen to live. I am sorry, but you are not going to get him back. You will have to fight your battles without the horse. He has chosen his own happy ending." And that is the story of the magic horse of Han Gan from China. I hope you enjoyed it, And I hope you'll come back and join us again on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Central Time, when we'll have another story for you here from the Milledgeville Public Library of Illinois. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.